Hey, welcome to Sea Lodge. Today we're going to cover another great game series, the Bioshock games. 1, 2, and Infinite. These games were all made on Unreal Engine 3, just like the Mass Effect Legendary Edition games that I covered a while ago. And just like those games, these games have some frame time issues. That's mostly when you walk into a new area and it loads the assets. Infinite has it the worst, but we'll dive into it. So let's jump in. For the original Bioshock game, we're using native resolution and essentially maxed out settings. Here we're running through the beginning of the Neptune's Bounty level. We're running 60 FPS basically no problem, but there are some spikes in the frame time graph. This is mostly when we enter a new area, and I assume that's from Unreal Engine 3 streaming in new assets. Once you're in an area for a while, the graph evens out, and it's pretty playable overall, definitely. It's a good experience. You will notice too that our battery life is actually quite good for a 60 FPS game. We're getting around 2 hours and 45 minutes with 63% battery, so not a lot to complain about here. For Bioshock 2, we're running at native resolution with max settings as well. Now, the frame time graph spikes pretty aggressively at some points here in the beginning, but once we get into it, things even out once again, and it's very playable. Once again, we are also getting good battery life for our battery level and running at 60 FPS. Bioshock 2 often goes underappreciated, and the gameplay here is some of the best in this series. I really recommend checking it out if you haven't.
I need this. Do you hear me? Alive or dead? What's the difference? Come and look.
My husband is such a perfect idiot. Throws away all his spending money on gene tonics to affect a look of physical fitness. So he'll have an excuse to sit on his rear all day listening to radio serials. Steven, I tell him, you want to be fit? Come swim laps with me, the old-fashioned way. It's your mind that's atrophying. Maybe I'll start sneaking some... Father!
Daddy was sleeping. for such a long time, and Eleanor has missed you. Find her and you'll be all better. Daddy!
Now we move on to Bioshock Infinite. This game is the most demanding one to run. I'm running at medium quality here. High gives more noticeable frame time drops, so might want to experiment. I have two sections of gameplay here, one in the very beginning of the game and some action later on. The beginning of the game is actually pretty demanding here. I think they just open with a ton of post-processing effects that really hammer the GPU. So that's why you might want to drop it to medium if you're getting some frame time spikes. Now, like I said at the beginning, this game exhibits the worst frame time spikes out of my experience. And it exhibits the ones that we kind of see from the other ones where you're loading a level in. And this game's probably the most linear out of all of them, where you're moving through areas pretty quickly. So streaming those assets constantly, I think, spikes the graph pretty frequently. There are also some prolonged frame time spikes that can last a second or two. These aren't super frequent, but it seems to happen the most when you're shooting a gun or something new and a new effect on screen happens. This might be from shader caching happening, as the shader hasn't been seen yet, but I'm not 100% sure. I have tried this game on the micro SD card and the SSD, and there was really no difference between the two. Here we have 60 FPS for the most part, but we do drop below here and there, so you might want to consider dropping this game to like a 40 FPS lock or something like that. In conclusion, it's great to have all the remastered versions of the game and Infinite running on the Steam Deck at 60 frames per second. There are some frame time issues, but it's playable overall. Thanks for watching this video. There's a bunch like this on my channel, so make sure to subscribe if you liked it. Have a good one.